All right, so we are going to go over the Chapter 8 Quiz 1 review. After this, after you watch this video and review for a little bit, the quiz will be available. Yeah, all right, let's get going. So all of these we want to determine the volume of the following figures, rounding to 2 decimal places if necessary. First, we want to find the volume of a rectangular prism. First, we identify the base. We have the base right here, a 4 by 3 rectangle, because there's another base over there, which is another 4 by 3 rectangle. You find the area of the base, length times width, and then you multiply it by the distance between the two bases, which is 6, which we call the height. Length times width times height gets you 72 inches cubed. For this cylinder, the formula that we have is volume is equal to pi r squared times height. Make sure you're using r instead of d, right? So 3 is the diameter, 3 is the distance between these 2 points, right? So 3 is the diameter, half of that would be the radius. Radius is 1.5. Radius is 1.5. The height, the distance between our 2 circles, is 4. 4 is the height of the cylinder. Pi times 1.5 squared times 4 gets you 28.27 yards cubed. Volume of this hemisphere. For the volume of a hemisphere, we have 2/3 times pi r cubed. 2/3 times pi r cubed. In this case, the radius is 27. That's all you need to substitute with a hemisphere. Substitute that in. Volume is equal to 2/3 times 19,683 pi. Throw that into my calculator. 41,233.9. We have a rectangular pyramid. How do I know it's a rectangular pyramid? The base is a rectangle. Right, the base is a 5.4 by 4.1 rectangle. The height, the distance from the base to the vertex, is 8.2. From the base to the top of the pyramid is 8.2. That's our height. Substitute what you know. Volume is equal to 1/3 length times width times height. Length of my base is 5.4, width of my base is 4.1, and the height is 8.2. You get 60.52 feet cubed. Couple word problems here. I'll kind of just leave these open. It's all just find volume. So making sure that you know the formulas that you need to know going in. Find the volume of a triangular prism. Okay, so I know that the base is a triangle. How do you find the area of a triangle? Base times height divided by 2. Triangular prism with a base length of 21, a base height of 16, and a height of 12 feet. All right, so if I had to draw this triangular prism, and bear with me, this might not be the best drawing. If I had to draw this triangular prism, that's actually not too bad. My base length is 21. My base height, so the height of that triangle is 16. And the height of the entire figure is 12. So that 16 is the height. 21 times 16 divided by 2, that's going to get you the area of that base triangle times the distance between those two bases. You get 2016. For some reason, this is the only one that doesn't have units. Feet cubed. Find the volume of a sphere with a diameter of 30 centimeters. Volume of a sphere is 4/3 times pi r cubed. Right, anytime you're dealing with a sphere or even a hemisphere, make sure that you have r cubed. Right, so spheres or hemispheres, radius cubed, which is radius times radius times radius. Diameter is 30. That means that the radius is 15. Use the radius. Do not try and use diameter for radius. It's not going to work. Right, so if I was drawing this sphere, that diameter is 30. That whole thing is 30. Half of it's going to be 15. Excuse me. Find the volume of a cylinder. Cylinder. Pi r squared times the height. So the volume of this cylinder with a height of 4 inches and a radius of 11 inches. So it's 11 inches. Pi r squared, r is 11, times the height, 4. 1,520.53. Find the volume of a cube. Cube is the only, well, I guess I did say hemispheres, spheres, or cubes deals with something cubed, something to the third power. Spheres and hemispheres deal with radius cubed. Cubes are just going to deal with side cubed. So the side of a cube is 12 meters, 12 cubed, 1,728. Working backwards. The volume of a rectangular prism is 244 cubic inches. So volume is equal to 244. We know that we're dealing with a rectangular prism, so we have length times width times height, right? Remember that length and the width is just for the base. If the base length is 12 and the base width is 3, determine the height. Volume is equal to length times width times height. I know my length, I know my width. I don't know my height, but I do know my volume. $244 is equal to 12 times 3h. 12 times 3 is 36. 244 is equal to 36h. H is equal to 6.77. Working backwards again. This one's a bit tougher because there's more steps involved. Right? There's more stuff that you got to deal with, right? It's not just length times width times height. Now we're dealing with a cone. Volume of a cone this is the first cone we've seen in this, 1/3 times pi r squared times height. Remember, cone is just 1/3 of a cylinder. 1/3 of your cylinder formula. 385.37 is equal to our formula for a cone. We know the radius. We want to figure out the height. My first step would just be substitute what you know. I know the volume. I know what the radius is. Substitute those in. Pi times 4 squared is 16. Right here with where I'm at, my first step is going to be to deal with this fraction. I want to deal with this fraction. What's the best way to deal with that fraction? Anytime I want to get rid of division, I need to use multiplication. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. What's that going to do? If I multiply the right side by 3, it's going to get rid of that denominator because 3 over 3 is 1, so it gets rid of that denominator. And then on the left side, we have 3 times 385.37, which gives us 1,156.11. On the right side, that just leaves us with 16 pi times h. We got rid of that 3. Now you just have 1 times 16 pi times h. I want to get h by itself. I'm dealing with multiplication. If I want to get rid of that multiplication, what am I going to do? Divide. You're going to divide both sides by 16 pi. Divide both sides by 16 pi. You can use your calculator for this. 1,156.1 divided by 16 pi gets you 23. Realistically, it gets you like 22.999, and it's just 9 for a very long time. We can just round that to 23. Okay. Error analysis. It's very important that we know how to do these problems. You're going to see them on the quiz. Let's take a look at this work. I have a pyramid, and in order to find the volume of this pyramid, I did 1/3 times 14 times 6. Right off the bat, that should kind of jump out at me because I did not use the height. I did not multiply the height at all. Right, so I have 1/3 times length times width times height, but where's the height? That's where the error is. The error is that you did not multiply the height. In order to fix that, you just multiply by the height. Multiplying by the height would get you 346 yards cubed. Now, what you need to make sure that you're doing is giving a proper response right here. Right? Don't just say the mistake is and then make something up. You look at that work, see what you would have done differently. If it helps, go through, solve the problem the right way first, and then figure out what the mistake was. Error analysis. Cylinder. Four over 3 times pi times 10 cubed. Whoa. That is not the formula for a cylinder. That is the formula for a sphere. The issue is that with this problem is that we used the sphere formula. We did not use the cylinder formula. So in order to fix it, I'm not going to use the sphere formula. I'm going to use pi r squared times height. That's the cylinder formula. To find the area of that, volume of that cylinder, pi r squared times height. 900 pi. Correct answer rounded is 2827.43. Now again, we've seen these, right? We saw them in the warm-up. We saw them in the review. We've seen them on the homework. We're going to see them on the quiz that you're about to take. Right? So again, just make sure you have to know what the formulas are. You have to be able to look at that and recognize, hey, that's not the right formula. We should have used a different formula there. And then the challenge problem. Determine the volume of the cone below. The hint is that 26 is not the height. If I wanted to find the height of this cone, which is what I need to find, I can find the radius. It'll be half of 20, so radius will be 10. But what the issue is that I do not have the height from the base to the top of that cone, but it's got to be perpendicular to that base. Always perpendicular to base. Height is always perpendicular to the base. I see a right triangle formed. Right, looking at this, here's that right triangle that's formed. One side's 26, one side is 10, and one side is the height. We use the Pythagorean theorem to solve. H squared plus 10 squared, 10 squared plus h squared is equal to 26 squared. I get that h is equal to 24. I now know my height. Now I have enough information to determine the volume of this cone. Formula for a cone, 1/3 times pi r squared times height. 1/3 times pi r squared times height. If you use 26 as your height, you're going to get a different answer. Volume is 2,513.27 meters cubed. Okay. Hang on, let me pull up the agenda. Right now, or maybe not right now, depending on how long of time you have or how long it's taking you to get ready for the quiz. Right now, you should have everything you need for the quiz. Please make sure that you are using test mode for the quiz. Please make sure that you put your phone in the phone caddy. You can grab it when you are done. Good luck on the quiz, and I will see you all next week. Next week, we start finals review.